and said I still say things. Wish I said them in a different way. I still say things that I wish I could be an entirely different person. Like if I was more eloquent or more feminine, if I was less masculine, if I was less of everything I am. That would sound way better. I would look way better. I would do far better. But there's no point in this line of thinking. Still don't stop me from thinking it. And then overthinking it. I've never underthought anything. I'm jealous of people that do. Maybe you enjoy parties way more than I do. But then again, I don't know what it's like to be you. No matter how much I tend to empathize, I'm still seeing you as myself. Still my eyes, looking at everything that I look at. Don't wanna beat myself up for being a human being. I don't wanna beat myself up for seeing the things that I'm seeing. What choice do I have? That's pretty silly. It's also really pointless to stress about things like that. God made me when He made me. He didn't make me to be you, and He didn't make you to be me. That's pretty true. Try to focus on the truth. You know, I said something yesterday in a video and I thought it was so fucking wise. It kind of blew my mind, man. Blew my mind. I said, I have to reiterate. Because I was singing, but I was talking about how I should rejoice in the truth, even if the truth is bad. Because at least I know the truth. At least I'm capable of receiving it. And that's something to be grateful about, even if I'm sad or angry or nostalgic perhaps. It's like there's still something really beautiful about knowing what's real and being able to accept that and being able to hold that and not be crippled by it. Because I do think that a lot of people, and I'm not saying this to toot my own horn, okay, I'm really not, but I'm saying this because of the reaction that I get when I talk about certain things. Like, a lot of people just can't handle it. They can't handle the idea that they're being poisoned. They can't handle the idea that people lie. It's easier to believe the bullshit than to admit that you like bullshit. You know? It's easier to just be like, no, there's no way. There's no way. How could they get away with that? How could they get away with that? They wouldn't have that job if they didn't deserve that authority. You really think they do that? You really think that they would do that to all of us? How could they get away with that for so long? How could they get away with that and nobody noticed? Well, it helps that the people that do notice are just labeled crazy and conspiratorial. And I'm sure that there's a far larger number of people that do notice, they just don't say anything because of what I just said. They would rather not chase that skepticism, you know? And I can't fault them for it. Their life is easier if they don't chase the skepticism, you know? It's like, say you've been married for like 30 years. And say there's some suspicions that you have about infidelity. I'm sure this is true of so many relationships, especially marriages. Not to dog the whole institution, but I'm sure the loyalty is pretty hard after a certain point. Because of boredom and just lack of interest, lack of excitement. Say you suspect that your spouse or your partner is not being faithful to you. It's like you have two options. It's like you can either investigate that or you can just let it go. Because it's more convenient to just stay in a relationship that's lackluster. It's easier to stay with the same person that you've been with for such and such a time. Many such cases. I don't think that it's impossible to be faithful and loyal and appreciate the person that you're with. I just think it's really, really difficult. But I feel like you have to be extremely virtuous in order to do that. And I just think a lot of people lack the virtue. You know? The virtue to, you know, pursue truth, and I have the virtue to, you know, pull from whatever I can pull from and understand things to the best of my ability and try to help people in my country I mean, if I can help people in other countries too, thanks to the internet, I'm able to do that. But a lot of people just don't really have the wisdom to understand like why things aren't working. And I can't really get mad about that because nobody ever taught them that wisdom was good, you know? It's like all these other things, like societal approval, that's way more of a necessity from what it seems. It's not actually a necessity, but a lot of people think that it is. You know, so people would rather be liked by their peers and you know, not laughed at. You know, obviously we don't have the problem of getting upset when people laugh at us. Probably wouldn't be wearing this hat if that were the case. But wisdom is far more valuable than some temporary nod of approval or, you know, compliment from a stranger. And I would say that if you're wise, you're going to inspire other people that want to acquire that. I don't think that you can inspire stupid people. I just don't think that idiots want to be inspired. You know, idiots want to do what I just said. They want the temporary satisfaction of pleasing the bullshitters. You know? And you know, these people bore me some fierce, but at the same time, like, who am I to say that, like, oh, there's no use for them, or they're bad people. They might not even be stupid. I'm just being judgmental. I'm just being a bitch, you know? That's what I'm doing. I'm gonna read you something I read today, though. Tell me what you think of it, if you feel like commenting. Nobody comments when I ask them to comment. They only comment when I don't ask them to comment. That's okay. It doesn't upset me. I'm just mentioning that. Hold on one second. Let's see if my phone is charged. 99%. Holy shit. That's a pretty good number. Okay, so this is from the Wisdom of Solomon. Now, I'm taking this from the Orthodox Study Bible, okay? And yes, this used to be a hardback. Just to let you know how much I read it, okay? Now, I soak this up like dopamine, okay? Like this is the dopamine factory. But the ungodly shall experience the punishment they themselves plotted. I'm taking this from the Wisdom of Solomon. This is starting in chapter 3, verse 10, okay? And I'm going to continue until chapter 4, verses 15. Okay, so starting at Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3, verse 10. But the ungodly shall experience the punishment they themselves plotted. They who rejected the righteous man and rebelled against the Lord. For whoever despises wisdom and instruction is miserable, and their hope is vain. Their labors are useless, and their works are foolish. Or, my bad, their works are worthless. Their wives are foolish, and their children are evil, their existence accursed. Blessed is the undefiled barren woman who has not known sexual promiscuity. She shall have fruit in the visitation of souls. Blessed also is the eunuch. I almost said Enoch. Blessed also is the eunuch who has done no lawless deed, nor thought evil things against the Lord, for a chosen grace of faith will be given to him, and a delightful portion in the temple of the Lord. For the fruit of good labors is of good report, and the root of discernment is infallible. But the children of adulterers shall not reach maturity, and the seed of a lawless bed shall perish. For even if they live a long time, they shall be considered as nothing, and in the end their old age will be accounted a dishonor. But if they should die young, they would have no hope, nor consolation in the day of decision, for the end of an unrighteous generation is grievous. Childlessness with virtue is better than this, for immortality is in its memory, because it is known both by God and by man. When virtue is present, people imitate it, and when it goes away, they long for it. Throughout one's lifetime, virtue leads the struggle for undefiled prizes, wearing a crown and conquering. But the prolific multitude of the ungodly are useful to no one, and none of their illegitimate seedlings will grow a deep root or establish a sure footing. For although they may flourish in their branches for a time, yet without a sure footing they will be shaken by the wind and uprooted by the force of the winds. Their twigs shall be broken off before they reach maturity, and their fruit will be useless, not ripe for eating or good for anything. For children born from lawless unions are witnesses of evil against their parents in their close examination. But though a righteous man may die before his time, he shall be at rest. For old age is not honored for its length of existence, nor measured by its number of years, but discernment is gray hair for mankind, and a spotless life is the maturity of old age. There was once a man pleasing to God and loved by him, and while living among sinners he was taken up. He was caught up lest evil change his understanding or deceit deceive his soul. For envy arising from lack of judgment obscures what is good, and a whirling of desire undermines an innocent heart. He was made perfect, for in a short time he fulfilled long years, for his soul was pleasing to the Lord. Therefore he took him early from the midst of evil. Yet people saw this but did not understand, nor take such a thing to heart, that the Lord's grace and mercy are with his elect, and that he watches over his holy ones. I'm going to keep going, actually. I'm going to finish until the end of chapter 4. But a righteous man who is dead shall condemn the ungodly who are living, and a youth who is quickly perfected shall condemn the ripe old age of a wrongdoer. For they will see the end of the wise man, but will not understand what the Lord purposed for him, or why he kept him safe. They will see and despise him, but the Lord will laugh them to scorn. After this they shall be dead without honor, and an insult among the dead continually, because he will dash them headlong and speechless to the ground, and shake them from the foundations. They shall be left dry and barren to the very end. They shall be in pain, and their memory shall perish. They will come with dread in the day of reckoning for their sins, and their lawless deeds will convict them to their face. Holy shit, you guys. So it's better to be righteous even if you end up living a short life. If people don't understand it, it's better to do the right thing because it's the right thing. So I'm getting older, as y'all know. We're all getting older. But when women get older, I think it's way more obvious. And I think that the older the people get, the more bitter they are. Especially if their life isn't going the way they want it to go. Especially if they don't have people in their life, like So a lot of people that are alone, they're really bitter because they're alone. But there are plenty of people I know that are married, that have children, that resent that. And this perfectly describes those types of people. You know, people that just, they're fruitful, but their fruit is fucking sour and rotten. So, you know, when I look at all the children growing up right now, I feel for them because it's not their fault. It's not their fault that they were brought into the bad decisions that their parents are making. You know? It's not their fault that their parents put them in a government school. It's not their fault that their parents administer corporal punishment so that they don't have to talk to them. It's not their fault that their parents don't understand them and yell at them and belittle them. And they grow up thinking that this is the way that you get what you want. Okay? Like, when I deal with adults that are, you know, obviously the narky pants type, okay? The cluster bees. They just haven't matured emotionally. It's like I think about how they grew up. It's not their fault. I mean, it's really not. They have no choice but to use the tools that they've been given, and it's pretty much a hammer, you know? They're just given a hammer. So nobody gave me a shovel. The Lord blessed me with that one. I've always had a shovel, dude. But don't think that I haven't been tempted. And I've definitely given into that temptation, by the way. Don't think that that hasn't happened where I've just wallowed in self-pity and felt sorry for myself and did all kinds of things in conjunction with that self-pity. You don't have to be an alcoholic to wallow in self-pity. There are various ways to do that. This part right here, their fruit will be useless, not ripe for eating or good for anything, for children born from lawless unions are witnesses of evil against their parents in their close examination. You know, most children that grow up in an undesirable circumstance, they're just going to end up repeating the failures of their parents. Now, if they're virtuous, they're going to learn from the mistakes that their parents made. If they're virtuous, they're going to learn from the mistakes that their siblings make. They're going to learn from the mistakes that their best friend makes. They're not going to want to end up like their great-grandfather who was an alcoholic. They're not going to want to end up like their deadbeat mom or their dad that abandoned them. You know? They're going to want to do right by their kids. Now, my parents did the best they could. Sure, they screwed me up. They definitely screwed my brother up. But, you know, I can empathize with that generation. I feel like that generation was really, really brainwashed. Mainly through technology. Because they watched that JFK assassination on TV, and now they're forever glued to that television set. And keep in mind, they were the generation that was told to, like, get under their desk in case of an atomic bomb. Okay? So, if they were trained to do that, you know, just like all these people that dutifully wore their masks and stood 6 feet away from their loved ones. It's like they can literally just make up anything and people just do it. People just go along with it, you know, because the fear of not going along with the group, that's even worse than whatever the disease supposedly is. It could be a disease, it could be a bomb, like whatever the threat is, it's nowhere near as bad as not fitting in. It's nowhere near as bad as being ostracized from a bunch of fucking guinea pigs. But yeah, I really like this this book so far. I think it's got about 17 chapters in it. "19 chapters, my bad. Yeah, but if you believe in doing the right thing, I would highly suggest that you just read the best spiritual book ever recorded. And people can go on and on about how it's just a bunch of made up crap, but I guarantee you that's not true. And it's not because I just want to believe a bunch of bullshit. It's because I feel the truth. The truth is something that you feel. And so when I read something or I hear something and I know that it's the truth, it's not something I have to think about. Like, I can definitely reflect on it, but it's not something that I really have to ponder, like, huh, is that true? You know? But I will reflect all day long. Because of all that dopamine, baby. Like, why wouldn't I want to hyper-focus on something that makes me a better person? Why wouldn't I want to hyper-focus on something that allows me to expand upon all of the gifts that God has given me? And God gives everybody gifts. People can focus on the curses that they have, but maybe you have that curse so that it can later be transformed into a gift. Maybe you're supposed to teach people about that curse. Maybe it's not a curse after all, like just the way that you're looking at it. Is indicative of, like, you know, some trauma that you experienced. And so, you know, you have no choice but to look at it from that lens of, like, you know, this isn't fair. God's not real. You know, I think that people get really, really mad if you even suggest, like, reading the scripture or, like, trying to live a more spiritual life. It could be totally pagan, people still get mad about it, you know? Like, how dare you tell me that I should try to locate a power greater than myself and trust that power, you know? But it's like there's so many powers greater than yourself. And you're already succumbing to the bad ones. So why don't you start succumbing to the good ones?